Hi, I'm from Cakecraft World, and in today's video I'm going to show you something that absolutely amazed me, and it is a delicious luxury fruitcake mix in a box that all you're going to do is add some water into it. And we're going to show you not only how easy it is to make your own fruitcake, but also how to professionally marzipan and flawlessly ice your cakes. And if you fancy going really retro, we're going to show you this brilliant technique with the royal icing. All of it's going to be topped off with some gorgeous sparkly sugar. So let's get started. So firstly, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to make this Sattina Luxury Rich Fruit Cake mix. So all you've got to do, open up the box, cut off the top, and just empty the ingredients into a mixing bowl. You no longer have to soak lots of fruit in your kitchen for weeks, or have lots of half-eaten packets or half-used packets of raisins. This is absolutely crammed full of delicious, juicy fruit, cherries, sultanas, all the kind of things that you want from your gorgeous luxury Christmas cake. So this size alone will make a really nice deep 6-inch round, and it'll be really moist and juicy when it's baked, or it will make the classic sort of 7-inch round that we're going to be working on today. So all I'm going to do is into my mixing bowl is add 250 mils of water. This could not be easier. And I'm going to pop it into my freestanding mixer here. Now, if you don't have one of these, it doesn't matter. You can mix this by hand, and then we're just going to pop this on a really slow speed so that we don't damage the fruit for a couple of minutes. So after the 2 minutes are up, you just want to give it a bit of a scrape down. So just so you can see what this mix looks like. Oh, it looks so delicious. Make sure I don't lose any bits there. You can see it's getting all really nicely mixed up there, but I'm just going to make sure that I've got all the mix. So especially on these bowls, it often gets a little bit lost at the bottom. So just give it a good scrape down, making sure you get all the way there. And then I can pop it back in the mixer for another couple of minutes, and then it's ready. So now this is perfectly mixed, I can just scrape down my bowl for one last time. Let's give this a... Oh, I can't wait to smell this cooking in the oven. I'm going to just give that a bit of a clean. And I can move this out of the way so that now I can start lining my tin. Now, lining the tin is absolutely crucial for a fruitcake because it's in the oven for quite a long time. So there's a few little professional tips and tricks I want to share with you. So the first thing is I'm just going to grease the tin. You could use any fat, so it could be butter, margarine, or a spray release. So I'm just going to use some butter here. I've just got it on a bit of kitchen towel. I'm just spreading it around the side. So make sure that you get into all the crease of the edge of the tin and all the way up. Okay, and when that's done, I've already pre-cut a circle, but just leave that to one side for the moment. I also need to double wrap around the side of the tin, and this is crucial because the cake is in the oven for such a long time. We need to make sure that the edges don't get dry, so we double wrap with a bit of greaseproof paper. Now this bit's super easy when you do this trick. I've just folded my paper over in half, my length, and then I'm folding that over, and I'm just folding a slight lip on this edge here. Now, really good trick is if you cut this on the diagonal, it fits in absolutely perfectly to your tin. So if I just cut up to that line there, whereas I find if I cut it on the straight, it all kind of goes a bit skew-whiffy. And this, the kind of job you can do whilst your mix is mixing. So, way down. And then I can just unfold this. And this will now slot really nicely around the tin. Okay, press it into the side. Your cake mix will squish everything out. Then my circle's going to go on top. It's looking good. And now all I've got to do is empty in my cake mix. This could not be any easier. So that's just all goes in. And it's best if you bake this, you want to start preparing this soon. So usually for a fruit cake, we like to bake it about 1 month before. It makes it get really juicy as it matures, and it also cuts really nicely too. So let's make sure I get all those last few mouthfuls of cake all in. And then one last little trick. Sometimes, because the cake's in the oven for such a long time, what I like to do is I like to just put a protective sheet of greaseproof on the top. I'm just going to snip a little hole in there. This is going to not only protect the top from any browning or getting dark and dry, it will pretty much steam the cake whilst it's cooking, so it'll get really nice and juicy. So that's just going to go on the top like that, and it's ready for the oven. So a cake this size is going to bake at about 140 degrees for about 2.5 hours. But I suggest after just over 2 hours, you might just want to check that the cake, how it's doing. You always know when a cake is cooked. If you insert in a cake skewer or a really sharp knife, if it comes out clean, it's done. Another trick I like to look for is if the edges of the cake just start to peel away from the side of the tin. That's always a really good sign. And then that's as easy as it is to bake your cake. So here's a cake that I've previously baked. As you know, we have to bake our cakes about 1 month before we're going to use them. So this is nicely matured. I just want to talk to you a little bit about what you need to do though. So when the cake comes out of the oven, just put a skewer in the top, and you might want to feed it with a little bit of sherry or brandy, have a tipple yourself, and then you can wrap it up. So you want to wrap it up really tightly with some cling film and then some foil. And I'd feed it sort of every couple of weeks, but just a little bit, about a tablespoon, because you don't want to feed it too much. Otherwise it might just all seep out when you ice it. So now let's get on to marzipaning. So here's my cake already. I'm just going to turn it over. And this way is really good, because what we're going to do is we're going to seal in all the little gaps, and we're going to give a really nice sharp finish. So the first bit that we're going to do is we're going to create a sausage for the top, because as the cake's baked, you can see that it's dipped down just slightly on the top edge. So I'm using the Sattina Marzipan, which is really good, really pliable, really tasty, full of almonds. And I'm just going to start by just sort of moulding that into a bit of a sausage shape to get going. Then if I just use a little bit of icing sugar, I can roll this, and there doesn't have to be anything pretty about this stage. It's just to seal in that top bit. So when you've got about the right size to go around, like so, I'm just going to put a little bit of my apricot glaze around the top edge. So I've just pre-boiled this to begin with, so just a few minutes, or not even a few minutes, a few seconds in the microwave. What you're looking to do is just boil it up so that you're just sterilising it. And I'm just going to just paint around that top edge that I'm going to cover now. And I like to use a silicone brush, because sometimes with the hair brushes, you might get like a little stray hair come off. With this one, it's brilliant, and it cleans up really nicely too. So now I can take my sausage, place that all the way around. Oh wow, I can't believe my luck with the fit. Squish it down. And then you're going to use a palette knife just to press that in across the top. So you see I'm really easily filling in all of that gap there, and you can be quite firm. This cake's really nice and solid. So just bring it towards you. Don't worry if there's any overhang around the edge. We're going to trim that off in a second. If you've got a little bit too much or a little bit too little, you can just plug it in with a bit more marzipan. Okay, so now it's nice and plush and nice and smooth. You can choose your board. Now we're going full on retro, so I absolutely love this one, but you could get a white one, red one, coloured ones, whatever you fancy. But I absolutely think this one's brilliant. So flip this over now. So this is our base. We want to use the base of the cake that we've cooked in as the top, because it's got the best edge. Press this down when you've got it central, and you can see now where I've got that excess. I can just take my palette knife, I can just slice straight down to give a really clean edge, and look how easy that is. super quick. And I've taken out any air from the bottom bit, which is perfect. So I'm sealing it all in really nicely. But make sure that you take the palette knife straight down and that you're not cutting in at a slant. Now just take a quick look at your cake. If you've got any little pockets like here, just take some of this paste and you can just press that in. Use your palette knife again, just to squish it into place. Now you can just cover up any little pockets. This is the bit when I usually eat half the marzipan as well, so I just love the stuff. Okay, so now we're ready to cover this fully in our marzipan. So I'm just going to move these bits to one side. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to coat the whole cake in my apricot glaze. So just a thin coating all the way around. Make sure that if you get any on the board that you're going to clean it off, just so that it doesn't mean that all your marzipan sticks to the board. Go all the way around. And this is going to help the marzipan stick to the cake. So next I'm going to marzipan my cake. So I'm just going to knead my marzipan first, just to make it a bit more pliable and easier. So warms it up a little bit, makes it easier to go on top of the cake. So just do this, just like as if you're kneading bread. And this, like I said, this is really nice marzipan. So you want to get a good quality marzipan. So the Sattina marzipan from Cake Craft World, along with all the other products that we're using today, the boards, the smoothers, everything. It's a really nice, delicious marzipan. So start with a sort of ball shape, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of icing sugar just to prevent it from sticking. And you might want to add just a little bit at the top. I'm going to use my rolling pin. And the key is you start and you roll a little roll in the middle. And can you see I've left a slight lip on either side? That way, when I turn it 90 degrees and I roll this way, I already start with quite a nice circular shape. If your first two rolls, it's not looking very circular, you might want to start again, because they're sort of the crucial ones that give you the good shape. So now I can just carry on rolling this out. If you want to have a good guide for sort of the size that you're going for, if you use your rolling pin and you hold it up to your cake, I can sort of get a rough idea for how long I need it to be. So it'll be about here. So I've got a fair way to go. Just sort of eyeball it. But if you like to have something to go by, it's a good way to tell. So as the paste gets bigger, I flip the paste back over onto the rolling pin and I can just turn it like that. And I find that better. I don't tear the paste or get my fingers in it too much. So I'm flipping it over and just turning it around. And you want to get this to about 3 or so millimeters thick. That looks like a good size to me. I'm going to take the paste back onto the rolling pin to lift it up and over. That way I can just lift it up. Now I find it easier if I start by taking the paste on the other side of me to the cake. That way I can see what's happening. If I go this way, I can't really see where the cake is. So take it here and you're just going to roll this over. So make sure you don't steamroll the top of your cake and just allow that to fall into place. So if you take a smoother, you're just going to take out any air from the top. Then you're going to use this part of your hand and you're just going to gently just secure the top edge around to the cake. Now I'm going to work by placing the marzipan over the edges. Now if you've got quite a long bit like this bit here, you might just want to trim that down a little bit, but be careful that you don't trim off too much because you can't stick it back on. But it just helps it shape in a bit better. So if you've got any bits like this, which we call elephant trunks, they're really easy to get rid of. I just take my left hand, I'm right-handed, underneath that trunk and just spread it out a little bit, and then that presses in and you see the marzipan shrinks and stretches to fit around the cake. So you just go round gently, really, just pressing it in so that jam's helping it stick into place. And you see I'm getting a really lovely smooth finish. So any troublesome bits like that, just tease it out underneath and it will go nice and smoothly on. Okay, all the way down. And when you've got that all like so, just give it a good press in. Next, I'm going to use my smoother like an iron, and it will also help to seal that marzipan into the board of the cake. Remember, we're trying to take out any air that's in there. So take it, there should be one edge that's sharper. You're just going to take it and press it right down to the board. So if you can see, it's almost like I've started to cut the paste away on the board. So all the way around. And now that cake's really nicely sealed. So I'm just going to take my palette knife and holding it straight on towards the cake. So don't tilt it at an angle because you want a nice straight cut. You're just going to take that all the way around just to chop off that excess marzipan. And then you can lift that off. So any bits like here that may have just stayed on, just trim those away. And then now you just want to polish up the cake a little bit. So I'd like to take 2 smoothers and you can just go around, and it's literally like you're ironing the cake. You can do the top. Just smooth out any bits you like. I love this, it's so satisfying. And take it around until you're happy. Sometimes I find if I have a slightly bobbly edge, just take your palm like that and it will smooth it all out. And that's all there is to it. So it's super, super easy. The next stage in icing our cake is we're going to cover it with our beautiful fondant icing. So, but first of all, to get the fondant icing to stick onto our marzipan, we need to just put a little bit of something on it. So you may want to use alcohol, so be it vodka, brandy, whatever you fancy. Today I'm actually just going to use some cool boiled water. So just paint it on exactly like we did with the apricot glaze. Being careful again not to get it onto the board because you'll end up with your fondant sticking to it. So all the way over. Don't forget the edges because that's where you really want some help with it sticking. And just take it all the way around. Okay. So next I'm going to talk to you about our icing. So I've got this gorgeous Sattina vanilla icing here. It tastes delicious and it rolls out beautifully, that it doesn't tear, it doesn't crack, you get lovely sharp edges. It comes in this great tub too, so any leftovers that you have you can just seal back up in the bag and it will keep really nicely in the airtight container. So when you first get it out, you're just going to have to knead it like we kneaded the marzipan. So it's always nice to remember that you actually want a really nice tasting fondant, because especially if you're using it to decorate cookies with or something, people want to have something nice to eat. So I'm just going to knead this like before. This warms it up and helps to prevent any cracking or tearing. And again, what I do when I'm kneading the fondant, because we obviously need to get a really smooth finish, I'm turning the fondant around so that what's happening on the underside is I'm getting a smoother ball. So just take it around a bit more. If you've got quite warm hands, this might be quite a quick job. I tend to have cooler hands, so I tend to take a little bit longer to warm everything up. And then the last thing I'm going to do before I start rolling it out is sometimes where we've been kneading it, we've encouraged some air bubbles into there. So I kind of just smush it a little bit. Sometimes if I smash it against the table, but good smush will do the same job. And then you see I've got this lovely smooth surface here. So again, I'm just going to use a tiny bit of icing sugar. Now, more importantly than when we did the marzipan, the less icing sugar you can use, the better, because if you have too much, you're going to encourage your paste to get a little bit dry and cracky. So try just to use as little as you possibly feel like you can get away with. So the same as before, you're going to do a little roll, leaving a lip on either side. That's going to allow you to get a much more even roll when you turn it around. So as you see, I'm already starting with a really good circle. So again, just turn the paste by folding it back onto your rolling pin and folding it like this. If I start to put my hands underneath it, then I start to get a lot of finger marks in there, or I might encourage a tear. This way you end up with a really fantastic professional finish. And there we go. Now, a really nice trick to do before you lay it on your cake is if you take your smoother and you're just going to iron that surface a bit before you lay it over. It takes out any little nicks or anything that you may have. So again, I'm just going to take the rolling pin, place it into the middle, and I can lift my paste up like this. Push your cake back in front of you, and then again, take the fondant so that it's over on the other side of you and the cake, and just roll that over the top. So like before, take any air out of the top. You're then going to take your hand there. Don't worry if there's any fondant on it. It doesn't make a difference. And you're just going to seal around that edge. So I see I've got quite a lot of paste around the back here. So I'm just going to trim that back. But be careful again, paste can spring back up on you. So you don't want to be left short. And in exactly the same method as before, you're just going to take the paste and press it around. If you've got any jewellery, you may want to take it off so that you don't indent or mark any of your paste. And you see this paste is beautiful. It has just shrunk into that cake like a glove. It's just really nice and flexible. So it works beautifully. And you see I haven't got any cracks. There's no tears. It's just a really great quality paste. So like before, you're going to take that sharp edge and you're going to press that down. It's lovely. It just doesn't. Sometimes the paste can spring back on you as well. This one doesn't do that. It just fits everything beautifully. Okay, so sealed all the way around. And again, remember to take that palette knife straight down onto the side of the cake. See, I'm holding it at 90 degrees. And you're just going to take that all the way around to give a really, really neat finish. So all of this excess paste can just get taken away. And that bag that we had from before, just make sure you squish out any air and just seal it back up. And then final thing I can do is, again, like I did before, is use my two smoothers just to polish the cake really nicely. So just take it around. And sometimes you've got to just know that the less you handle it, and this paste is so nice, you really don't need to do much to it. You're done. So as soon as you've smoothed over around the sides, maybe smooth around the top again, and then just to give a really nice edge, I take my hand around that top edge just one last time, and you're done. It is that easy. To finish off, I'm going to show you some great ways to decorate your cake, and we're going full on retro with this set here. So I'm going to show you a great way to glue these decorations onto the cake, because you don't want to buy any extra stuff. So with the fondant that you've already got, I'm just going to let it down with a little bit of water, and this is going to make a great edible glue, because some of these decorations have got spikes on them, but some of them will need a little bit of a helping hand to stick on. So you want to get it to like a pasty form. There we go. So you can see I've got a really nice sticky paste there. So now my full-on retro decorations. This is properly taking me back to my granny's house. You can just imagine the tin coming out at Christmas time, everybody gathering around, So like I said, some have got some spikes, so you can just stick those in. Oh, I love it already. Santa's got to go at the front. But then say for our little house here, just dip the base in there, so you've got a little bit of the gunge on, and then just take it over, and if it goes out around the edge, it just looks even better. It looks like some snow. So our little dear friend here needs a bit of helping hands. So let's pop him here. Fantastic. And no Christmas cake is complete without your fabulously glitzy Christmas cake ribbon. So this could not be better. Just look at it with the board. It just looks brilliant. So I'm going to stick a little bit of the ribbon. Again, we don't need anything extra. A little bit of our sort of fondant-y glue on the back of the cake. If I just turn this around so you can see it. So that just can stick on like so. Press that on. Then a little bit more on the other end. There. And then you can just pull that around to secure, and look at that. But it is Christmas, and there's one thing that we have to have at Christmas, and that's a lot of sparkle. And I've got here some of our sparkly icing sugar. So like I said, everything's available at Cake Craft World. The little sets, they're not very expensive. You can bring them out every year. They're just brilliant. I'm going to pop this on just to add the finishing touch. And look at that. That is Christmas perfection. Now, if we are going to go full on retro, let's forget about the fondant and the sugar paste, and let's go back to our fluffy royal icing snow peaks. So Sattina do this brilliant, easy to make royal icing mix. Just add water, mix it up to the instructions. I've already made mine, and I've got my royal icing all ready for my fluffy peaks of snow. I've also added in though a little bit of glycerine, about a tablespoon to this amount, so that nobody breaks their teeth on Christmas Day, because it's going to dry rock hard if you don't add that in there. And this is so easy. All you're going to do is just put on that snow, like you're just sticking that on. This could get the kids involved, and you can make it as fluffy, as peaky as you like. You're going to take this all the way around, and this is properly taking me back to my granny's house. Such happy memories. So last little gap, and if it's looking a little bit like you've got some proper like Everest snow peaks, just flatten it out a little bit and do this tapping motion, and it will just bring it up into a nice even snow scene. And it looks brilliant. Let me now just finish it with some great decorations. So I've got, of course, my Santa Claus, my snowman, and no Christmas cake is complete without our Rudolph. And Merry Christmas. And the absolutely essential sprinkling of snow. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, where we've shown you how to make everything from our delicious luxury rich fruit cake to making our fluffy retro icing. But I also wanted to show you some other design ideas that you might want to think about for your Christmas cake. So here I've got a really nice blue fondant with a plunger snowflake cutter and these really adorable little penguin toppers. And then moving on, we've got this one with some really lovely stars and a really cute Santa. Or maybe you might want to go for something a bit more traditional, and here we've got this lovely Santa Claus, the tree, and these plunger holly cutters. Whatever you go for, it's going to look great. We've got a fantastic selection of decorations on Cake Craft World if you check out the website, and just enjoy decorating.